Hi, this is a little how-to video on how to use Freelogodesign.org and Silhouette Studio to create a logo that can be made into a sticker or a heat press for shirts or anything like that. So first I'm going to pretend that I'm designing a new logo for the art club of my school. So I'm going to go to a new Google page and go check out freelogodesign.org. Helps if I spell it right. There we go. Freelogodesign.org. This is a great website. You can sign up. You don't necessarily have to. There's a lot of cool things that this website can do. You can just type in a pretend company name. If you were going to, like, maybe you're having your kids come up with a logo for a pretend company. It could be like Toys R Us. Pretend that's a company again. And you could just type it in and it's going to give you all of these like pre-made logos. So you could just like go through and be like, oh, I like this one. You can also scroll through here and give you some like, to narrow it down a little bit. So you could, if this is going to be for toys, maybe I would go up to, let's see, what would be a good option. I think there's one for kids. Maybe not, maybe you'd have to type that in. Games and recreation, that might be a good one. So you could just see like all these different options just as starting points. But I'm just going to go back here and we're going to leave without saving. Back to this page and I'm just going to click get started. So we're going to go right to a start without template. So this is our plain workspace here. Now there's lots of ways you can start here. The way I like to think about it, I like to go about it, is to choose these icons. So if I go to add icon, there are tons of different shapes that you can grab. I'm making a new icon, new logo for the art club. So I'm just going to type in art and see what comes up. So I just type art and press enter, and all of these options come up. So you can see there's tons of different things that we would all say are art stuff, from you know, a palette and paintbrush. There's some feeder things in there, pictures, markers. You could keep scrolling. There are hundreds of icons, hundreds of little shapes for tons of different different objects. So if you type art or math or science or, you know, whatever you wanted, you could see. Apparently there's some nail, if you wanted to put nail art in there, flowers. So many cool things. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to choose, go back to the top, I'm going to choose some pretty simple ones. We'll definitely want to do one with a little palette and paintbrush. I like this one, so I'm going to pull that onto the, pull that on the workspace. There's one. Go back to the icons again. I'm going to scroll through, look at some other options. Maybe I'll type in sculpture. There we go. So you can just see what some sculpture options might be. I was thinking like something that we could make out of clay. Maybe a clay vase. Sure, there's a vase. Maybe this art club likes to make a lot of things out of vases. We can throw in some markers. Oh, so here's a good example. If you type in markers, it's going to give you different kinds of markers. So these are like markers that you might put on a map, but down here we can get some like simple looking markers or pens. I'm going to choose this one here. Looks good. Oh, that one's giant. So let's scroll. Could make this one little again. Oh, somehow I lost my clay vase. So I'll go back up here, type that again, clay vase. Put that guy in there. Did that work? No, it didn't. Double click. There we go. If we double click it on there. And actually, so here you can see these are like two outline shapes, and then this marker doesn't really have that outline. So I'm going to just delete that because I kind of want them to be consistent. I'll type in like a pencil this time. Get a nice like outline of an artistic pencil. This one will work. There we go. So now I've got these like three different designs. I'll put these, I'm going to kind of line them up a little bit. So I'm just designing this little logo. Maybe it's for, maybe the art club is making t-shirts for them to wear for like a presentation or something. And I can adjust these a little bit. You can click on them. You can change the color if you wanted to make them a different color. Remember, the color doesn't matter, so when you are designing things, you just want things to all be the same color, or just all be black. Makes it easier if you leave everything just as the black that it comes in. And then I'm gonna, let's see, we want to put this over here. Sure. You can select them. There is a nice little alignment tool up here, so you can say you want to align them in the middle so that they're lined up that way. There is a order tool if you want to like bring things to the front or the back. You can group things together. I want this to just be in the middle a little more. There we go. Maybe make this one a little smaller. Okay, I'll group those with this option, so those are grouped. Next, I'm going to add a shape. I'm going to use a hex or an octagon. Spread this out this way and this way. Sure. And actually, I think I'm going to, instead of these shapes being positive space, I think I'm going to go with negative space. So instead of having them be outlined in black, I'm actually going to change them to being outlined in white. And then for the order, I want these in the front. So I want to bring those to the front. And now when I kind of stretch these out, you can see, there we go. Now we've got this big hexagon with the arch shapes kind of removed from the design. So they're not going to be the color of the sticker. So when we just cut these out, they won't be red, for example. They'll be the negative space. And then last, I'm going to add some text. So let's just grab in here, and then I'm going to type. You actually can't type over here. The typing happens over here in the edit text menu. So I'm just going to type the, let's just say, East High Art Club. There's a bunch of different fonts we can go through. There aren't so many, but you can type different options and look through some different choices. I'm just going to choose the poster font. Just going to give you even more poster options. Maybe find something a little artsier. Remember, for vinyl, this option would not be a good choice, so we don't want these like, we don't want anything that's super like tricky to, that would be really difficult to weed or difficult to cut out. So here, all these little designs on there would make this really not fun to cut and to weed. So let's just go through and see what other options we have. There's this one is a good stencil font. That would be an easy weed, of course. This one's kind of interesting. I'll choose that one. Put those together. You can select all these. Use that alignment tool to align in the center. And there we go. Maybe this will be my little logo. And we've got a pretty straightforward align middle. And oops, that's not what I wanted. Sorry. We want these to be in the center. There we go. I'm just going to move my hexagon down a little so it's more in the middle. There we go. Okay, so now we have our logo complete. Now I need to get this into Silhouette so I can cut it out. Now you can choose the download option. That's going to come up with these different choices. The first is to get the free version, which is just a 200 by 200 pixel. It's not a super high quality shape. But to do that, you're going to click download, and you would type in your name and your email address, or your students could type in their name and their email address, or their name and your email address if you wanted them to be sent directly to you. All of those are fine. These high-res and premium, this is the price per individual image, so you definitely don't want to do this. This is $40 per design, so if you have 20 kids in your class and they're all making these, that would cost you an arm and a leg. So you can download it here. The other option is in your editing of the logo. You can use your snip tool, so just use your little like screen capture or snip tool to grab a new snip and just grab the design that way. You could easily just save this snip under your downloads. I'm just going to save this one as Art Club. And then when I go back to Silhouette here, just like I did to import other shapes, I can go to my files and then it's going to show up right here in my downloads folder, and I can drag that into Silhouette. Now I have my image in Silhouette. I can make it bigger, and you're going to see that it has pretty decent resolution. It's not terrible, it's not great, but we're going to trace it just like we use to trace other shapes or the animals or whatever. We're going to open up our trace menu over here from the right hand side, choose select trace area, and I'm going to draw my shape around. Now this is a good example. It does have that like blue box on the outside, so if I increase the threshold, see if I bring it up a little bit, right there on 74%, that little blue line is going to get traced as well. So we don't need that blue line, so we can kind of bring that back down. Now sometimes the type, whatever you type into your shape, doesn't come out great. So sometimes maybe you use like a complicated font and like the words just don't come out well. So I'm just going to pull this outside here, and you can see now we've got this nice shape, our nice cutout that we could use this as a logo. But for example, sometimes this just like doesn't work out. So I'm going to go back to my design here. I'm going to choose my East High Art Club option, and I'm going to choose a different font that might not come out as nicely. We'll choose this like, I want something kind of, there we go, this like skinny little font. So you can see this one, the letters are pretty small. Make them a little bigger, but that's not it's not really bold. But let's just say we really wanted that font. I could go through that same process. I could create a new stimping tool to grab my logo. I'm going to save this one as Art Club 2 and go back to Silhouette. So I'm going to just grab this design, the first design that I made, and I'm going to pull that off to the side. It's still over there, still doing great. It's just off to the side for right now. Then back into my files, I can go grab Art Club 2 and drag that one in and make that one nice and big. And let's see what happens when we try to trace this guy. So maybe I want to increase that threshold. Well, if I increase the threshold too much, I'm going to lose some of my detail around my shapes. Okay, that looks good. We're going to trace that, move this away. So, well, that one came out pretty good too. Well, sometimes the letters don't come out great. Sometimes you go to trace something and like maybe this like L wouldn't have come out because it was too skinny, or maybe the little dot from the East High wouldn't come out. That happens sometimes. If that's the case, or if you try to make something and it's a little too complicated and you can't get the detail that you want, you can always just right click on your shape and go to Release Compound Path. Remember, that's going to make all of the little shapes separate, and then you could just select just the part that you didn't like how it came out. So I could delete that East High part, and then I could just use the font tool from Silhouette to type in East High Art Club, and then so you're adding the letters from Silhouette onto the traced design that you got from freelogodesign.org. But we can just choose whatever font we like in there. Let's choose this one, sure. And then I could just grab that over there and select those again and use my little group tool up here. So now I've got these two different options, different fonts, that either of these could work for my little logo design. Okay, that's it, all set.